First, maybe a question for you, Lady Galore. Just tell a bit about how you started with drag, how you got into it, how it excited you.
Is it on?
This one is on.
This one is not.
This one is-
Maybe it is now. Oh, there you go. No worries, I'll take. Oh, there you go. Yes. So, So friends told me I had a weird face, and that I should try to put some makeup on it to see what happened. And I always loved drag. I always was intrigued by it. I always liked the extreme from going from a guy to a girl, and or whatever. So I decided to try it out, and I started at home, just in front of the mirror. And the first time was on Pride in Amsterdam, and I got very addicted to it instantly because I thought everyone was there just because of me, which obviously my ego was already big back then. But yeah. So that's how I sort of got into drag.
But how your career grew then over the years, because you've been doing that for 10 years now.
Yeah, but we only have like 30 minutes.
A quick recap. Like.
How my career grew. So I started doing little events, like a birthday party for my friends, or a Valentine party, a Christmas party, and then my friends were bringing their friends. And I thought it was important as a drag queen to always do something that affected the gay community, because I feel very connected to the LGBT realness. And so I started giving out like free condoms or free, I don't know, the dental dams, is that it? Bedflapjes, it's the Dutch word, I don't know. It's the thing it's like the safety thing to eat pussy. It's like a latex thing. Anyway, I gave them away to all the females, and to like, hey, here's the safe way to eat pussy. And also some guys, and they were like, oh, maybe I'll try it one time. Anyway, so that's sort of like how my thing, my events always sort of started out from a community point of view, and then just wanting to have fun and entertain, and to create a sort of friend circle, community, family, that, because I was quite alone. Like, I came to Amsterdam quite alone, as you know, and I didn't know anyone, and I was like, listen, if I'm in drag, people suddenly think I'm amazing, and they love me, and I can get attention, and I quickly realized I can use that attention to do something good. If you're visually, if you're visually, like, if I walk into a room, people will go like, whoa. So with that power comes responsibility, and I can or just be a drunk hot mess, or, which I am often, or I can also try to have some influence in society, which was then, it became my career.
Yeah, just you said also that you have a big influence in the community, like
huge.
How huge?
Well, I'll send you photos later. This should be a private conversation, baby. Yeah.
Well, a few years ago, when we got to know Sander, he was already developing projects and initiatives under the label of Drag Queens United to bring together the Dutch drag scene. And that was really important for Sander, and we did some short films, and we did there used to be photo shoots of the whole Dutch drag scene. Yeah.
To quickly explain, when I started doing drag, there were like 8 drag queens, and they all hated each other. They all had their own bar, which was their territory, and you would never dare to step into, like you would get attacked. So when I started doing drag, I was like, drag alone is not fun. I need my sisters, I need my other drag queens. So that's why I sort of started Drag Queens United, because I think if all these fake bitches can create something positive and work together as a group, that should be a signal for the gay community that, like, I get it, we've got lesbians, we've got bisexual, we've got the trans, But in the end, we're all one big family, and if we can work together, we can create something amazing. And that's what I try to do with trying to get all these egomaniacs, aka drag queens, working together. And yeah, so sorry.
Yeah, but that's what we admired also about you and about Lady Galore, that she is like the glue of the Dutch drag scene, and she puts a lot of effort in it, and a lot of makeup. And a lot of makeup as well, but a lot of it is unseen. And when we started working on the documentary, it was, yeah, we wanted to show the transformation, of course, the transformation of Sander to Lady Galore, also the transformation that would be happening that year because of the weight loss, but for us as, well, the filmmakers, we wanted to let people see that Sander also is transforming the Dutch drag scene, or maybe the European drag scene, because Drag Queens United is spreading out. Yeah.
Global.
And that is so admirable, and that is what we, well, wanted to make visible in the film as well.
But how did your cooperation or your friendship start?
Oh, we're not friends.
Oh, come on.
Definitely not friends. We worked together on, there's a few short films, you could have seen them, it's lip dubs mostly. We did
So it's
three
like-
of them, music videos, playbacking,
Lip sync.
first lip syncing with 50 queens, then with the 100 queens for Christmas edition, lip dub, and so during that time and making these productions we got to know Sander very well, and the way he was approaching the lip dubs, and we said, oh, it's fun to make lip dubs, but maybe we can do something different, maybe something more. And we make a lot of documentaries, so we thought, oh, maybe that could be an interesting starting point to show something about the rest of your life. And then Sander explained that he was going through a, well, exciting time because he was thinking of starting the surgery. So then we thought, oh, that would be a great moment to tell your story and also see what will happen during that year while you undergo this transformation. Yes?
Okay.
Yeah.
We like long answers.
Sorry.
How was for you when they followed you around for 1 year, right?
Yes.
How was it for you? Because it's quite an invasion, a bit not invasion, but I cannot find a better word for it, of personal space, of very intimate portray.
It was an invasion, but on the other hand, it wasn't really, because I think I had control in the sense of like I wanted a nude scene personally. Like I wanted to be naked in the shower and show my best assets, but they were like, no, that's too graphic. We can't do that. I was like, okay,
It's too small.
it's too small, bitch. Okay, they've never seen it. Trust me. Otherwise, anyway, it doesn't matter. It wasn't like there are some scenes that I'm not very like if I watch the film, I'll go like, oh Lord, yes. You know, there's some points where I don't like to look back at it, but on the other hand, it's the way I looked, and it was my body, and I'm not ashamed of my body. I'm not saying big is bad and small is beautiful. I had serious health issues. You know, I had diabetes, I had sleep apnea, I was 30, at that point 34 or 33, and I could not run to the bus without, you know, getting like almost a heart attack. So I had to change my life. So there are some points in the film where if I look back at it where it's like, oh Lord, yes. But it's mostly personality stuff than it is body stuff, and allowing them to come very close was a challenge because I am a person that has a wall. I think most people have a wall, and you need to, you know, and I think the fact that I knew them already made it for me a lot easier to allow them into my world and into my thought process.
Sander is also very aware of cameras, so it is difficult
What do you
to. It was sometimes difficult to break through the wall because Sander always knew the camera's there, even though we were with a really small crew. It was just the two of us and the camera guy, and it was like very soon we noticed, well, Sander will always know that the camera is there, and in the film you have seen a lot of moments where Sander will address the camera directly, and those moments were actually the moments that we fell in love with, because it was like, it's real, and he knows that he's being watched, of course, but in a way that was like also the charm of this film, because like in one of the swimming pool scenes, when he's working really hard to lose the weight and work on his body, then suddenly he points his gaze at the camera, and it's like, I know you're there, you can't see this, but I know you're there.
But I must say, I mean, obviously, you know, we're creating this film and it's a documentary, but I was also like, there was at one point, I don't know why, there was the first time they were filming in the swimming pool, actually the only time. I've been doing that swimming pool session with all these elderly ladies for months at that point, and we had a new teacher that day, and suddenly he was like, go stand on the edge of the pool, and people were like getting their bodies out the water, and I was like, there's a camera. And I was like, and then they were like, and start running. So all these elderly ladies started running and everything started to jiggle, and I was like, I'm not doing that. You know, so there were definitely moments where I was like, oh, there's a camera, and no, I don't think I want this to be in the film. So, you know, I'm a person, I'm flawed, and it's hard to show everything about yourself all the time. So of course there are moments that I was like, I don't know if I want this in the film, and most of those moments still got in the film, so you tricked me sometimes, yeah.
But what was the most important thing you wanted to tell with this story for all three of you?
I wanted to save my career.
Well, for me, the most important thing is the story about not only the weight loss, but it started much earlier when Sander was rejected by his mother for being gay. That was really an important part of the story for me personally, because I thought at that point there's no way back, and Sander had to establish a new life for himself, and he chose Amsterdam to build his life there. And from there he discovered drag, and it was like this inciting incident which changed his life. And at that moment it was the worst in your life, but you changed it for one of the best things in your life. And that is a great way to deal with things that happen to you which you don't want to, but they happen anyway. So it was important to tell from our perspective that drag has empowered Sander to be himself.
That's beautiful. Yeah, you've never said it that way. Thank you. I think for me it was mostly, I wanted to film this period of time because a lot of people did tell me, like, if you're gonna do this surgery, people will not love you anymore. They love you because you're fat, they love you because you're a big drag queen, and once you lose the weight, you will lose your charm, or you will lose whatever you have that people like you for. So I thought it was a very interesting concept to think, wait, do people really just like me for being big, or do I have a little bit more than, you know? So I also thought, what if I'm, 85 years old and I'm in a retirement home and I look back at my life and I have nothing to do? I could always watch movies. So I figured,
Watch it over and over.
I watched this over and over and be like, yes, this was an interesting time in my life. I don't know, I just thought it was a fun concept, and when I went to them and said, listen, I think I'm gonna do this, and I think we should we should make a film about it, because there's not a lot of people that are open and out about, it's very popular nowadays to be body positive. I get it. But if you're not positive in your body, you need to change it. So I'm all for people who are like, yes, I'm big, I'm fabulous. Girl, get it, But I didn't feel that way. So I wanted to be open about that it's all right not to be okay about your body, but if you're not happy, change it. Yeah. I'm preaching, sorry.
So how do we see a lot of this in the film, but how did you face with this double standards? You as like you said, a fat drag queen, and you as a person behind that?
I lost a lot of people who liked me before. A lot of people suddenly lost interest. And what I think the hardest part was, suddenly people started liking me because I was no longer fat. And that was the worst thing. Like, even as a guy, if I was a big guy going to a gay bar, and I would have to go, if it was busy, I would have to be like, sorry, I have to go through, sorry, People would look at me like, oh, yeah, you're big, you're annoying. And suddenly when I was thin, they were like, oh, hey, queen, so it was, I got people sending me dick pics through Facebook that have been in my Facebook for like 8 years. And suddenly now, because I'm slim, or, suddenly I'm sexually attracted to them. And that felt really bad at the beginning, because I didn't feel I changed as a person. So apparently it's that fucking shallow that people now think I'm attractive. Well, I always knew that I was the shit. Yes, girl! But I can imagine that you're attracted to something. And a lot of people are more attracted to slim people. But it was a hard realization having to deal with that, yeah.
But what was the impact on your career after the surgery? Because it's been like 2 years now.
Hey, I'm now in Slovenia sipping water in front of an amazing crowd. So,
for us it was one of the exciting things when you start a film like this, or a documentary in general. You don't know where the story will end. You have ideas of where it might be going. And this dilemma that Sander faced, because as Sander, he really desperately needed the surgery to be happy again, but also for health reasons. But for Lady Galore, it was, well, a more difficult decision, because, potentially you were putting your career on the line.
And I miss the big Galore.
Yeah, and Sander loves big girls.
I like a big drag.
Yeah. And also Galore as a big girl was like, yeah, you still miss her sometimes now, you said. So it's that dilemma that you don't want to make the choice, but you have to make the choice. That was a good starting point for the film, because it's like, oh, well, what choice will you make? And in the end, of course, well, luckily and gladly, of course Lady Galore is more than just her size, but yeah, there were moments when you were doubting, will people accept a new Lady Galore? But because Galore means big and abundance, and when this comes up, it's like, it's not in size abundance, but
subtle,
it's still,
right? Yeah.
it's still Galore. It's still a personality that is very big, and that's also Galore. So I think I still, when I see the film and I see big Galore, it's like, oh, I loved her as well, but I love this Galore as well. And I think a lot of people.
Oh, I'm happy about it.
Yes. I think a lot of people think that.
Thank you.
So does anybody have any question?
Darling, I have to say, you are more galore as ever. So I'm wondering if losing weight will do something to you. You're still sexy and spunky and charismatic, and we love you. Really.
Thank you so much. And I am very spunky, that's true, yes.
I actually have two questions. So the first one is, you obviously achieved a lot. What's next? You know, what is inspiring you as, like, if you look like 10 years ahead? And the second question is, as obviously you like Grindr, how is Grindr in Ljubljana?
That's a good question.
Yes, so I'm a bit of a commercial whore, so I am on Grindr in drag, and I have my photo, and I send Slovenian dick pics, and it's been interesting. It's been very impressing, I can tell you that. So that's Grindr. Then for the future, I just what do you call it? Ja, maar hoe noem je dat? A publisher contacted me because they were like, we want to make drag is very hot right now in the Netherlands. It just got hot, so they were like, it's very hot right now, and we want to make a book about drag in our country. And we think your story you're the one that should be writing it. So I just signed a book deal. So I'm going to be making a book, which is, I never thought I would because I don't know how to write, but I'm using a ghostwriter and that I will like feed in a corner sometimes. And so I'm going to be making a book, which is very exciting. And in 10 years, girl, I live like, I don't even know what I'm doing tomorrow. So 10 years from now is giving me anxiety.
What's interesting is that you saw the castle where the drag queens come together to learn from each other, and Galore is now organizing the second weekend to bring the European drag scene together. And
right. So we have workshops. We have European drag queens coming in, like Cheddar Gorgeous. I think she's been here at Pride 2 years ago. Yep. Cheddar will be coming in to give 2 workshops. I will give some workshops. There's parties, there's photo shoots that I don't know if you heard of Rano Braque. He's like this Parisian photographer that puts all the drag queens like, and it's like epic. So he's coming to do a photo series, and so this weekend is happening in February. Oh, April? Oh, I don't even know. Oh yeah, no. Oh, I'm in Sydney in February. Yeah, I forgot. So traveling hopefully, but in 10 years, girl, I don't know. I'll be pregnant, hopefully.
You mentioned in the beginning of the film, like always pushing forwards and like taking every opportunity you could take. Like, how did you deal with being overworked and like stressed?
I got a depression. So I think I have this awful, unhealthy work relationship where I think I can be tired when I don't have offers. So I work until I am literally failing physically, which is not healthy, but it's how I got here. So the minute I had success, I went for it, and I keep working, and I never said no unless it was, I really couldn't work-wise. Even if I had a fever, I was, especially with so for like 4 years, every Sunday I had a steady drag night in Amsterdam, and even if I had a fever, I would be in drag, on stage with a cup of tea and aspirin, to be hosting the show because people expected me to be there every Sunday, and people would come from all over the country to be there that Sunday, and if I wasn't there, there was no show. So, I pushed myself, and I'm not recommending you do the same because I think it's healthy to be like, bitch, I'm sick, I'm staying at home. But I was very motivated to get success. Because if you haven't been on RuPaul's Drag Race, it's really hard to get, how do you call it? Recognition as a European queen. Because you need to fucking do death drops and, I don't know. I'm old. I cannot do a split or a death drop. So I had to work really hard to get where I am. And that's, a lot of people say, oh my God, you're so lucky, Galore, you get to go everywhere. I'm like, bitch, I'm lucky. I'm not lucky. I worked my ass off to get here. You know, so that's just a thing. If you want to go places, work for it.
Yeah.
I think that for us as filmmakers, we also recognize that passion and health are sometimes...
And haircuts?
And getting haircuts and taking care of yourself it's difficult sometimes, because when you're passionate about doing drag or about a film, you will go beyond your limits and beyond your boundaries. So,
for example,
yeah.
we didn't have any funding for our film. We made it from our own savings just because we thought it was important to tell this story.
So give them a drink after this.
But if you're passionate about something, it creates a huge amount of energy, and it gives a lot of satisfaction when you finish it, or when you can watch it or share it with audiences. But it was one of the first things we recognized from each other, that the passion for the thing that you love most is also the thing that is sometimes like a dangerous thing.
Your demise.
Yeah, your demise, yeah.
Yeah. But we got there, but it's always, like in the film, Sander chooses for his health in the beginning of the film, right? He chooses to undergo the surgery, and that was really important, but because I think, of course, your own body and your own health is very important, and then when it turns out that you take care of yourself, then you become maybe even more successful afterwards. That is what the film, I think, also shows.
Hopefully. Still waiting on that.
So we have time for one quick question, if there's any.
If you were to go back at times when you just started performing, and let's say it's like 10 seconds if you're about to go on stage, what was going through your head? Like just at the beginning, when you just started performing.
Okay, so I'm trying to make it quick, but this is a story, no, kidding, no. So the first year and a half or 2 years, I did not perform. I was a personality queen. Like, I was there, but I did not perform because I was always saying, like, a good drag queen doesn't need to perform. But to be honest, you do. It was my nerves. I was so nervous. And there was a drag queen called Jennifer Hopeless. And she had these illegal pills called beta blockers, which slows your heart rate down. So she gave me a few of those. She was like, just take half one every time before you need to go on stage. So I took half, and I was like on stage like I was so relaxed, and I had no nerves. And at one point the pills were done, like I used all of them, and I suddenly I wasn't nervous anymore because I've done it a few times, and I still get a little bit nervous. Like, I was nervous here yesterday. I performed here yesterday, and the first performance went great because it was a slow song, and then the second performance was up-tempo, and it was a thing where people needed to repeat like a part of singing, and everybody was, so it was like, oh, and then the audience needed to go like, oh, and this was like 6 times what they did yesterday. So it was like, I was like, oh fuck, they're hating it. So I still get nervous, and it's still, and it's just a matter of, as long as you give energy and you do what you want to show on that stage, people will love you for it. And if people don't want to participate, that's fine too. You sit down and you have a drink. You give me a drink later. Yeah. Right. Thank you for doing this interview with us.
Well, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.